Hi YouTube, my name's Drew and you're watching Drawing with Drew. This is a continuation from my last video where I talked about the concepts and the things that you would need to consider before starting your own comic, starting the long journey of creating your own comic books. I also mentioned in my last video that I would be continuing a project that I started 8 years ago, or at least had the ideas for 8 years ago, called The Adventures of Poop Dog. And we're going to revisit that first comic today, and then I'm going to share how I kind of come up with the different characters and how I practice that so that I keep them consistent throughout the comic. So we're going to switch over to my ancient GoPro Hero 3 so we can get a down shot. So this is what you've seen before. This is what we got to in my video from 8 years ago. It started off where I showed my kind of concept here with, I won't show the ending of this first comic, we'll kind of keep it as a surprise, but basically the premise of this Poop Dog comic is The Adventures of Poop Dog, a dog that won't poo outside, won't poop when told, and won't follow house rules. So that's going to be kind of my entire theme for this entire comic book. So after we talked about this, then on my tablet, we drew this together. I showed you what I was doing. Meet Sam, a new addition to the McDougal family. This is Drew, one of Sam's owners. Drew knows Sam is evil. He knows that he secretly poops everywhere, but his parents never seem to notice. Watch that dog! He poops everywhere!
That dog? Oh, just look how cute he is. He wouldn't poop inside.
I tried to do it the same way, the same voices. So as you can see here, it's kind of an interesting concept being that it's very simplistic, and that's what I was going for, but I've changed my mind for this next one. I'm going to try to make it a little more wacky, and we're going to talk about characters today. And in order to do your characters, you really need to work on keeping them consistent, right? So from panel to panel, each person has to look relatively the same. Now you can obviously have artistic liberties and freedoms, and you can make eyes bulge, and so here's what I've done. I have worked on Poop Dog first. So on a regular piece of paper, I've drawn Poop Dog in a whole bunch of different situations. So in this case, I don't usually use references, but in this case I looked up just bulldog pictures, and then I changed the facial expressions to meet the way I want my character to look. But I just looked up the way they would be sitting. I don't have to necessarily, if I get stumped on something, I don't necessarily have to like totally stop my flow. I can look at my picture for some reference and use one of these potentially. So these ones here are, he's dragging his butt on the ground. If you have a dog, they do that sometimes. And then here I've got him when he's like looking super cute. Now for Drew, what we'll do here is Andy, because my mom used to call me Andy as a kid here. So I've got a little picture of how he looks. The main item that you would notice different from all the other characters is his backwards hat. And what I've done again is I've drawn a circle, and then I've done the expressions, all different expressions. And if I pick my dad, which I'm calling Greg, everybody's slightly different, has a different name. But if I show you Greg, I've tried to kind of keep the expressions the same for each one, so that but I changed them slightly. I've given him different hair. He's got actually similar ears to me, a different nose, and I really like this one. So a whole bunch of different expressions. So what I would recommend is pick your few characters that you are going to use, and then do the exact same thing. Draw maybe 12 circles, and then work on similar facial expressions that keep that character like set, so you know which one it is. I've done the same thing here with my mom, which will be Shelly. Same facial expressions, just in her case, she has big lips, she has eyebrows, she's got this hairstyle that's different. And then I'll have my two younger brothers who won't play huge roles, I don't think, so far in the comic, but a little bit. And this is obviously takes place when I was a kid, so we've got Russ, and he's like a little baby with a few hair, twigs of hair there, one tooth. And then my middle brother, the one just below me, I'm calling him Orlick, and he's a little kind of Hellraiser. Anyway, I really like these expressions, and I think it's going to really help in the creation of the comic. It's going to kind of bring it all together. So I guess I should probably demonstrate just roughly how I've done it. So you can experiment with different sizes for your character, for their heads, and see what works. Just draw some random circles first. And then you've probably seen this many times around. You know, you're drawing lines for where the eyes, nose, and mouth would go, and that'll also help with the perspective of where they're looking. So in this case, kind of looking up this direction. You might do one where their eyes are looking down. Actually, let's use the brush, the Tombow N15 ABT brush pen. And I like to use a smaller nub side. As I said in my other video, even though it's kind of round, you get some really fine lines with it. So let's just pick one of these characters to kind of draw. And I'm just drawing it quickly. Not being too careful here. But you know, you just kind of play with it. I'm going to try the different noses. And you can always make eyebrows like coming right off their head. Maybe like a surprised look on this guy. Try some weird ears off to the side. Being very loose, that's the important part. I hope you have a piece of paper with me here and you're doodling. This is what this kind of channel is going to be a lot about. Like, you can watch as I work on these and hopefully you know, enjoy it. But if you draw along with me, that's kind of my goal here, so you can kind of get some inspiration. Everybody's style is going to be different too. So what I like to do for my cartoons, and I kind of learned this while I was doing some caricature practicing, I like to make their necks really skinny. So really cartoonifies them. Anyway, character design is always fun. So go with it. Have a whole bunch, be happy with the ones that you have first before you get started, and then just keep working on it. So in my next video, I'm gonna get started on this new comic, the very first one. We'll do it together. We'll see how it goes. I'll show you about the formatting, about the size paper, and how I'm gonna do this. So I hope you guys look forward to that one. I know I enjoy doing this and sharing it with you. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.